Y'all, it's not your anxiety. Your is a misnomer guided by eons of doctrine and decision making that have led you to believe that you are an individual, that we are individuals, like a soup of individuals, and that's not it. So this current situation of mind, body, whatnot that you're feeling is actually all things realizing that you're not individuals in a really uncomfortable way. And it's being met by the marketplace in an unhelpful and sometimes unhealthy way. You can no more banish anything or anyone from your experience of living than you can banish your own skin. The discomfort that you feel inside your skin isn't what you think it is or what you want it to be. It can't be supplemented or meditated away. This nervous system regulation that is sold as an antidote to your mental and physical tensions is no fix for you as a singularity. It's because it doesn't exist in a vacuum. And this experience isn't relegated to those who identify as empaths. It's an everyday, everyone experience. Along with selling our souls for someone else's recipe of spirit connection and definitions, we've bought into this idea that I am, while countering the I am with this mind's twinned lowest common denominator of fear. Your body and mind are at war with you, because they don't understand how you cannot understand you, or what you think you are or feel you are is at war in that sense, and also in a war, and it has been. The difference between now and say 10 days ago is that your eyes can now convey to the brain and the heart the reason behind what the actual fuck. This chasm between the knowing of the soul and this spoon-fed individuality that we are desperate for, or seem to be, like this dichotomy between the need to be seen as an individual without giving pause to recognize what all things with a capital A and a T has been trying to tell us, that we've deemed anxiety or some other maladaptive mechanism within the boundaries of our body, is that we are not a sea of separated individuals. All along, you have been experiencing another woman's rape, a baby's head being smashed against a tree, and the response of that tree. You have been feeling the ground cloven for extraction while you distract yourself with me. And then thought we was limited to what was outside of you or right in front of you. And these experiences are merely one of the myriad ways that all things speaks. You also feel the rhythms of wave meeting shore, tectonic scrapings, and the smell of the sands and the oil from the Middle East every day, and didn't notice it until now you're noticing it. You've felt the starvation of millions and thought that was all about you too, when you were really hearing the prayers of a singular language of desperation and lostness. You have felt the burning of skin and bark and blood and eyes, but called it your own, as this as if the suffering of others is separated from you, from your conscious awareness, when in fact it's always there. You just don't know what conscious awareness truly is. You have heard the dwindling cries of an infant's violation, or whale calves' knowledge that their mother has died. And you wondered what that funny sound in your ear is, creating stories to make that more palatable, more spiritual, rather than realizing it's the deep connection to all things literally being heard. That tree falling in the forest, yeah, you heard it and felt it thud, thinking nothing of it. We have distorted ideas of self into a way that seem normal, like natural to us, as easy as breath. And all things, capital A and capital T, are now reminding you and us that normal and natural are nothing more than learned patterns that we think are useful. And all things is now reminding us that normal and natural that we have decided upon run counter to the only foundational law, the only law not created by man: love. Love. Love thy neighbor as yourself was followed by a public death and a resurrection meant to remind you that your neighbor is yourself. That there is no stone to be thrown, nor a perpetual reminder that you or anyone else are less than anything else in the eyes of God. That there is indeed one God by a babel of names who demands nothing, but repeatedly shows you that it is not separate from you, and that your ideas around what we've come to call fear of God are the thing that cleaved you from it in the same way blades split the earth. Now, as a collective, you are seeing, yet still not believing, because me and mine have remained as exclusive a club as Mar-a-Lago. And you're quick to judge the latter, but won't look at the face of the former to see where you perpetuate that which you claim to loathe, yet ironically mimic. In addition, every judgment of another tells you something about yourself that you're unwilling to explore. Perhaps because it's far easier to revert to blame and to fall into self-judgment. But you've been given tool after tool after tool. Oh my God, so many tools, and choose not to use them. It's become a deadening pattern that only you can change. Your anger at another systemic failure or an individual not being pleasing enough to you does not change your own pattern. It entrenches it. Here is where this idea of individuality is important. It's that when it's viewed as a part of a whole in the healing way, in relationship to that existing around and within you, is when we get to the heart of the matter. One of the greater questions of your time is to learn how to bridge that gap between what is useful as an individual as it impacts the whole. This is where practices like self-regulation can be useful. It's where you can learn to be in rhythm with others, and others as plant, animal, mineral, ocean, tree, wind, orchestra. It's why practices done in community are more effective than when done alone. And one of the greater contradictions in this whole wellness sphere that come largely to you via these handheld machines that I've got here in my right hand, it's these damn handheld machines that are fueling this, doing what others call suicide by habit, like lemmings to the cliff to go. And we're just scrolling through. Just scrolling through, not realizing that what you're seeing is staying with you and becoming absorbed into your lived experience. I want to end with this though. My criticism of the perpetual individual in pain, predatory business models and practices that aren't useful stems from one singular point that I'd ask you to consider. The framework that's sold as the fix has the foundation that your body-mind-spirit complex is centered not just on individuality, but on a perpetual fear response, that you are wired individually merely to fight, freeze, or flee if you're not pleased with life in general or in any given situation that arises. And that premise, that foundation ignores the fact, the truest truth, that love is as instinctual as fear, and that love is the primary driver of creation and life, not fear. Fear is the default mechanism that you've been taught is the primary force of survival. It is not. Love is. Breathe around that for a minute with this additional nugget of awareness that love and fear cannot exist together. Cannot. Do not. Think about that as you measure your response to fear. Goodbye.